How would you like to crack the code to an incredibly successful real estate career? And how would you like to obtain the code to being a successful realtor? Enter the realtor code. And that's what we'll teach you here, my friend. Hi, I'm Mark McInerney, President and CEO of CodeMark Financial. Welcome to Mortgage Money Genius, where we teach realtors just like you the most important piece of the real estate transaction, the mortgage process. Today we're talking about underwriting, most specifically week 3 inside of underwriting. You know what? Sit back, relax. 3, 2, 1, off we go.
I just wanna be your superstar, 'cause it's not where you are, it's where you are.
Alrighty. Week 3. Last week was kind of the sleeper week, as I had made mention that inside the real estate transaction, once the file hits underwriting, from week 1 of gathering all the documents and then the file being packaged up and submitted to the underwriter for that conditional approval, which again, I'll have you consider and understand that the conditional approval is the most important approval inside of using that word. The buyer gets pre-qualified, then proves what they say to get pre-approved. Now, this is proving the pre-approval because the approval is given conditions. And as I told you last week, conditions are merely questions. But if it's approved, that's a good sign because the lender is saying, hey, we like what we're seeing here, but we just have a few questions. So this approval is conditional upon the buyer being able to prove and fill in those blanks. So week 1 was all of that. Week 2 was ordering third-party items, right? Because it's not just you and me inside of this or them, the clients, the buyers, and or the sellers, but there's also third parties that are associated with kind of buttoning this whole thing and putting it together. And again, as I mentioned, but just to reiterate also, there are 2 things being approved here for the money. There's the buyer and then there's the property. And in the second week, we are chasing after the items that are associated more so with the property while the buyer is providing all the paperwork to clear out the conditions on themselves inside the conditional approval. So here we are, week 3, the ball gets snapped back to us. We ordered title last week from our title partners. The appraisal was also ordered with the AMC or the appraisal management company, and also an insurance request for an insurance policy and the coverage to cover the specific property was ordered by the buyer's preferred insurance company that they use, or as we always recommend, an insurance broker to go out and shop and get those best deals. And then also getting the documents and details on the homeowners association so that the buyer is well aware of the deed restrictions and things like that. Of course, if the house is in, has an HOA. So week 3 is pretty simple. It's just now grabbing all of these things back, large in part for what is then becomes like the final approval stages, right? I usually use literally the explanation when I'm talking with my clients and walking them through the stages. I say, hey, you know what? Week 3, the underwriter or team of them, in a figurative sense, gets all the paperwork back. There's the title commitment, the appraisal. Let's look at W-2s again, the paycheck stubs, the tax returns, the bank statements. Is there any amendments? Oh, no. And they just spread everything out on the kitchen table, and they're like, all right, let me make sure that everything is still approved per the way that I saw this just 2 weeks ago. And assuming that that'll be the case, well, we end up getting what we like to hear in week 4. So take a quick look again just to recap while I zip over to my black and white stage and Freddie is going to educate you on the slide. That was a baseball swing, not a golf swing. That would have been lower. Are you an Astros fan? I am, right? And maybe if you're catching this somewhere else in the state of Texas, maybe you're a Rangers fan too. That's okay, because we're Texans. But I like to use the example of the baseball diamond, right? We start at home plate. The pitch comes, and that first pitch is to gather all the documents. All right? Run to first base. That's week one. Gather the documents, submit it, okay? Then the next player gets up to bat. Who are the next player? The lender going in there and asking for all those third-party items. Runner on first runs to second. All right, he's at second. Now at second, he's standing there just kind of waiting, like, what's the next play? What's the next play? All those third-party items come in. Running to third, slides into third. Now, from third base, we can see home plate again. So we have just now rounded second into third, and we are coming on home, my friend. Stay tuned for next week, and we are going to go ahead and hit that home run to show you exactly what it looks like to get this all done in 30 days. In the meantime, do me a favor. Yeah, you know. Like, comment, share, and muchas gracias in advance. And I'll see you next week. I'm Mark McInerney, President and CEO of CodeMark Financial. We'll see you.